Disneyland, envisioned by Walt Disney, was a manifestation of the American dream. But this vision unexpectedly intertwined with Doritos' journey from being seen as trash to generating billions in sales. So, to better understand this, we will have to go back in time to the early 1930s. But before we get started, welcome to Tales of Titans, the place where business and history come to life. So, let's look into how Doritos were invented. Amidst the Great Depression, Charles Elmer Doolin stood on the brink of losing his family's Highland confectionery business in San Antonio. Their ice cream's plummeting quality, thanks to a price war between suppliers, pushed Charles to think beyond the conventional way. But despite his numerous ideas, finding something feasible and unique proved challenging because the economic downturn didn't help and started painting a grim picture for the business's future. Just when things seemed bad, a chance encounter changed everything. Charles stumbled upon a street vendor, Gustavo Olgin from Osaka, who was making corn chips using a handheld potato ricer, deep frying them in corn oil and seasoning them with salt. These chips, popular in local lucha libre arenas, caught Charles's attention. Gustavo, longing to return to Mexico, advertised his business for sale at $100. Charles saw potential in these corn chips, but the price was steep. Yet, with his mother's support, who pawned her wedding ring for $80, and Gustavo's kindness to accept the balance later, Charles bought the business. Naming the chips Fritos, Charles began production in his mother's kitchen, enlisting the help of his family. And despite all the skepticism from store owners who saw Fritos as just another corn chip, Charles persevered, even taking a job as a late-night cook to fund his sales trips. Eventually, his persistence paid off, and demand for Fritos began to rise, pushing the Doolins to innovate. So, Charles and his brother, leveraging their mechanical engineering know-how, designed a machine to mass-produce Fritos, setting the stage for the snack's future success. By the 1950s, Fritos had outgrown the family kitchen, leading to the establishment of manufacturing plants in Dallas and Tulsa. Charles, inspired by Henry Ford, modernized production with assembly lines and conveyor belts. He even developed his own corn strain to perfect Fritos' taste. Yet, his ambition didn't stop with snacks. He envisioned a Frito-themed restaurant at the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. And shortly after Disneyland's opening, Charles convinced Walt Disney to let him open Casa de Fritos in Frontierland. The restaurant was a hit, blending Mexican and American cuisines with Frito innovations like the famous Frito chili pie. But sadly, Charles passed away just 4 years after Casa de Fritos opened and never got to see the wonders that Fritos became. But hey, we need to realize this is not just about one person's success. It's more like a team effort, and it continued even after the time of Charles. His daughter, Khalida Doolin, alongside others, shared a significant role in laying down the groundwork for what would become a legacy. And yes, this includes the creation of Doritos. But here's where it gets more interesting. It wasn't just Charles's family and their employees who made a mark. There were others, deeply rooted in Mexican tradition, who also chased the American dream and played a crucial part. Let's rewind to 1896. A Mexican-American entrepreneur named Jose Bartolome Martinez opened the first massive flour mill in the U.S. Now, it didn't skyrocket to success overnight, but Jose wasn't the type to give up easily. He also had a vision. He wanted to simplify the process of making masa, which is essential for tortillas and tamales. His persistence almost landed him in debt, but eventually it all paid off. This was when Jose came up with dehydrated corn flour. All you have to do is just add water and voila, you've got masa. He called it tamalina, and this was revolutionary, especially for Mexican women who were used to making masa the hard way, just like their ancestors did. This traditional method was labor-intensive, involving soaking corn overnight and grinding it on a stone surface. But thanks to Jose, those long hours before dawn were no longer necessary. By the 1900s, Jose was running a new factory capable of producing massive amounts of tamalina and fresh masa every day. But with new production methods came unpredictability in demand, leading to surplus masa. So instead of wasting it, Jose had an idea. why not make corn chips? He chose a triangle shape for them, perfect for dipping, and became the first to suggest pairing them with guacamole, salsa, or bean dip. But Jose's innovations didn't just change the snack game, they inspired others to pursue their dreams in America. This includes a man from Sonora named Alex Morales. In 1906, Alex and his wife started their journey by selling tamales from a wagon. This humble beginning was just the start as they went on and expanded their venture into a restaurant and eventually a tamale factory they named Alex Foods. Interestingly, this factory was just a short 10-minute drive up the street from Disneyland. By the time the 1950s rolled around, Alex Foods had really made its mark. They had a fleet of 32 gleaming trucks, delivering tamales and other food products all across Southern California. They even clinched a contract to supply many of the restaurants within Disneyland itself, including the Charles Casa de Fritos restaurant. Now, here's where the story takes an interesting turn. A year after Charles passed away, a salesman from Alex Foods noticed some leftover tortillas in the trash at Casa de Fritos. He also had an idea and suggested to the cook that instead of throwing them away, why not fry them up and make tortilla chips? At that time, Casa de Fritos was giving away complimentary Fritos instead of tortilla chips with their meals, never considering tortilla chips as an option like the authentic Mexican restaurants did. The cook decided to give the salesman's idea a try, adding his own special blend of seasoning to the chips. The result? A tortilla chip that tasted unlike any other. Customers tried these new chips and instantly loved them. Casa de Fritos quickly added them to the menu as a regular item and did all this without even informing the Frito Company. A year later, the Frito Company merged with H.W. Lay & Company, and Frito-Lay was born. Their main products were Fritos, Cheetos, Lays, and Ruffles, bringing in a whopping $127 million in revenue. But the real game changer came when Frito-Lay hired an outsider, a VP of marketing, Arch West. He not only took Frito national, but also stumbled upon the tortilla chips, catapulting the company's revenue into billions. When Arch was just 2 years into the job, while on a family trip to Southern California, he stumbled upon a tiny Mexican shack selling tortilla chips. These chips were unlike anything he had tried before. They were crunchier than Fritos, thanks to being baked before frying. And this discovery got Arch thinking about the potential of tortilla chips if they were introduced by Frito-Lay, especially if they could come in various flavors to cater to different market segments. Upon returning to work, he was excited to share his idea with his fellow executives, envisioning tortilla chips as Frito-Lay's next big hit. However, they were skeptical, worrying that tortilla chips might cannibalize the sales of Fritos and Cheetos. They instructed Arch not to pursue the idea, but Arch was so convinced of the potential of this idea that he secretly invested his own money into an off-site facility to develop the concept further. Arch then went on to test the market in San Diego with his fresh idea. He wasn't just handing out samples of ordinary tortilla chips, he was introducing something special: Doritos. You see, this wasn't a random name. 2 years before, he had ventured to Mexico City, aiming to trademark Fritos for his company. But alas, Fritos, meaning fried in Spanish, was too generic for the legal department, and their application got the thumbs down. Instead of heading home defeated, our hero decided to stay and brainstorm. Fritos was associated with gold, the color of success. So, playing with the Spanish words for gold, oro, and little, ito, he stumbled upon a gem: Doritos, or little pieces of gold. With a name that clever, how could his second pitch fail? And, well, it didn't. He cheekily warned his colleagues to be ready to hate the idea, but shared how his market test had the product flying off the shelves without denting Fritos' sales. Doritos got the thumbs up, and it did well in the Southwest, where the shape was perfect for scooping dips. But the rest of America was puzzled. Doritos sounded Mexican, but didn't taste like it. So Arch refused to back down and proposed taco-flavored Doritos. Skeptics scoffed, claiming a taco wasn't a flavor but a thing. But he saw the untapped potential in flavor technology, convincing the team to experiment. Thus, taco-flavored Doritos were born, later paving the way for iconic flavors like nacho cheese and Cool Ranch. By 1991, Doritos had become Frito-Lay's top seller, ranking in $1.3 billion, with nacho cheese flavor driving over 60% in sales. And the rest is history. Well, that's all, folks. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more amazing content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.